Welcome back students to Unix programming class. In the previous class we have studied about the different types of files which are used in Unix. Today we will study the POSIX and the single Unix specification. Unix has numerous standards and variants, that means it has different versions. In early days, AT&T Lab published a document called System 5 Interface Definition, SVID in short. Xopen, now the open group, it is called as the open group now. It is a standard. A consortium of vendors and users had one too. In the Xopen portability guide, that also had a Unix version. In the US, another set of standards named Portable Operating System Interface for Computer Environments, in short POSIX, were developed at the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, IEEE. So this is familiar to you, right? So from IEEE, it is developed POSIX in Unix, another version. In 1998, Xopen and IEEE undertook an ambitious program of unifying the two standards. So in the previous slide we saw that Xopen standard, and here the POSIX standard IEEE by US in US. So in 1998 they both joined together and took a decision of unifying their work. In 2001, this joint initiative resulted in a single specification called the Single Unix Specification version 3, in short SUSV3. That is also known as IEEE standard 1003.1 2001. That is called as POSIX.1 version. There is also POSIX.2 version. In 2002, the International Organization for Standards, ISO, you are aware of that, right? So ISO approved SUSV3 and IEEE 1003.1 2001. So it is approved. A single version has come out as POSIX.1 and is approved by ISO. So what is the benefit of that? Why did they join together and merge their work? Because it supports maintaining compatibility between operating systems. Okay, between different operating system versions, compatibility can be achieved. Write once, adapt everywhere. That means you can write on one platform, one machine, any program, and that you can run on any other platform of Unix. So that was the advantage. That's why they did this work of unifying. Once software is developed on any POSIX compliant Unix system, it can be easily ported to another POSIX compliant Unix machine. So that is a portability feature. So then let us see some file attributes of Unix and POSIX. The general file attributes means common file attributes for each file in file system are the type of the file, right? So we have seen, right, when you say ls minus l, the first character tells you the type of the file, which type of file it is, whether it is a regular file, device file, directory file, or a FIFO file, or the link file, that will be depicted by this file type. Then the access permission, which we saw in the previous class, RWX, right, read, write and execute permissions for user, group and others, that is access permission. Then hard link count. So if the files are linked, then how many files are linked, 2 files, 3 files, that hard link count. Then UID is user ID, the user of the file. GID is the group ID, which are all the groups which have access to this file. Then the file size in bytes, okay, how many bytes that file has, the contents. Then the inode number, it is a unique identification number for the file. Then file system ID, this is the ID where the file is stored. Then last access time. Last access time means when the file last accessed, that time will be recorded. Last modified time means when the contents of the file last modified. And last change time. Okay, last change time means the inode change by changing permissions, ownership or file name, etc. So that is called as the last change name. If you have changed the permission or the ownership of the file or the name of the file, if you have changed, that is recorded as the last change time. Okay. So these are the different attributes of the file which are common to many platforms of Unix, but there are other attributes also which you can access in different platforms of Unix. Okay, then the Unix and POSIX file system, some points we'll see. Files in Unix or POSIX systems are stored in tree-like hierarchical file system that we have seen, right, which starts from root, and in the next level all built-in directories are present, where below that built-in directories, the user defined directories and also user created files can be stored, right. That is a hierarchy, tree like hierarchy file system it follows. The root of a file system is the root, right, that slash, the upper one, topmost one is the slash, which is also called as the root. That is the directory from where the hierarchy starts. See, this can be written as slash root or simply slash. Both are same. Okay. Either you can write slash root or simply slash is the same. It indicates the root directory only. The leaf nodes of a file system tree are either empty directory files or the types of files. Okay, the leaf nodes means the last level where further no other files or directories are present. Okay, so that is leaf node. So those are either empty directories or the other type of files. If they are empty directories, nothing within inside them to show the below level, right. That's why they are empty directories or some type of files. Within files you cannot store other files, right. Within directory you can store files, but within files you cannot store any other file. So file, if it is there in the leaf node, that will be the final level, right. A file name, so you should give a name to the file. So how it should be, a file name may not exceed name max. So what is this name max? Name max is a given built-in variable. It is 14 bytes. Okay, so it is a built-in variable which contains some value which cannot be exceeded when you name the file. Okay, so name max means how many maximum number of characters a file name can contain will be stored in name max. Okay, and the total number of characters a path name may not exceed path max. Okay, so in a path, how many characters you can have in a path? Path means slash home slash ait slash csc, so that from root you start and write a path to reach a particular file or a directory, right. So that directory, that path cannot exceed 1024 bytes, which is given in, that limit is set in path max. Okay, so path, the number of characters in a path cannot exceed path max, and the number of characters in a file name cannot exceed name max. Okay, so then POSIX.1 defines POSIX name max and POSIX path max. Okay, so in POSIX system, name max is POSIX name max, that name max value is stored in this variable, and this path max value is stored in POSIX path max. Okay, and those are present in a header file called limits.h. So we will see the usage of all these when we enter into system programming. Okay, when we enter into system programming, we'll write programs to program the system. Then we will see all these variables usage. So next, coming to absolute path name. Actually, the path names or the paths which you can write in Unix are of two types. One is absolute path and the other one is relative path. So let us see what is this absolute path name. The absolute path name of a file consists of names of all the directories starting from the root. Whenever you write a path name which starts from the root, that will be absolute path name. Okay, when you write a path which starts from the root, that is called as a absolute path name. For example, you write slash. See, this slash, initial slash is the root. Okay, further slashes what you saw in this, what you see in this path, they are not roots. Okay, they are separators for different levels, next levels, okay, below levels. But the initial slash what you write, that depicts the root. Okay, so that's initial slash is the root, and flashes depicts the separators for the next below levels. Okay, if we write $cat m1, it is executed if if m1 is existing in your current directory. If your current directory is home, okay, you are residing in home, and if you say cat m1, what is cat? Cat is a command to display the contents of the file, which is the file we have given here. M1 is the file which we have given here, right? So when you say cat m1, it has to display the contents of the file m1, so that m1, if it is present in your current directory, then only it will display the contents. But if you are in home and m1 is not in home, because m1 is present here. Under home we have AIT, under AIT we have CSE, under CSE we have 5th sem, under 5th sem we have notes, under notes we have this file called m1. It is not in our current directory if we are residing in home, isn't it? So we have to go 4 levels below where we can reach the file m1. Then this command will not execute. It will say file not found m1, right? M1 file is not found. It will give you the error if the m1 is not present, the file m1 is not present in your current directory. But if m1 is here in this directory, if it is residing, above command will not work. This cat m1 will not work. Then you should write what? You should write, to display the contents of file m1, you should write cat and the entire path where m1 is present. If you simply write this cat m1, it will not display the contents of file m1 because m1 is not present in your current directory. So then you should write the entire this path to display the contents of the file m1, right? Cat and this entire path slash home slash AIT slash CSE slash 5th sem slash nodes slash m1. That's entire path, because you need to locate, you need to tell the system where this m1 is present, right? Then only it can find that file m1 and display the contents of the file. That's why the entire path you should give, and this entire path is starting from a slash, you see, isn't it? That means from root, root is the reference here. From root we are reaching m1. From root we are reaching m1, right? From root we will reach home, then AIT, then CSE, then 5th sem, then notes, and then m1, right? So we are reaching m1 through this path which starts from reference of the root, which is called as the absolute path name. Absolutely, you are telling how to reach m1. from the root. With reference to root, you are telling how to reach M1. Okay, through which are all the directories you have to pass to reach M1. Exactly you are telling. That's why it is called as the absolute path name. Whenever a path name starts with a root, with reference to root, it is called as the absolute path name, right? If the first character of the path name is slash, the file's location must be determined with respect to root, right? If the first character in the path name you saw in the previous case, right? Here you saw that the first character is the slash in the path name, which tells that the reference to this path is the root. If that first character is in the path name is a slash, the file's location must be determined with respect to root, with reference to the root. It follows the tree structure to reach a given file. Such a path name as above is called as the absolute path name. Okay, what we saw in the previous slide, which starts with a root to reach M1 is called as an absolute path. See here, for example, if we would like to reach a file, let us say this file called safe. Okay, the file called safe we would like to reach. How will we reach? Wherever we may be. Okay, wherever we may be residing. Okay, how to reach this safe? We are residing in home. Okay, let us say we are residing in home, but we want to reach safe. Can we say I want to display the contents of the file safe? Can I say cat safe? Can I say cat safe? Will it work? No, it will not work because I am residing in home directory, but safe is 2 levels below the home, right? So then you have to give the path with respect to root. That means the absolute path you should give to reach the safe. So how will you write? How will you write the absolute path? For this, you will write the absolute path starting with root. Okay, with slash you will write with respect to root. Then you should take home. You will say home. After that you should say Kumar slash next level. No, from home to Kumar next level there should be a slash for reaching the next level. Next level Kumar. Then next level safe, from Kumar to safe. So one more slash safe. Okay, complete names you should write. Home, Kumar, safe. The complete names you should write. Okay, so you are starting with the root slash, then the home, here home, then this Kumar here, and the safe. So to reach the safe file, you will start from root to Kumar to safe. This is called as an absolute path. Exactly you are specifying from the root how to reach the file called safe. Okay, so that is called as the absolute path name. Is it clear? Any doubts here? This is called as the absolute path name. Okay, so then in contrast we have relative path name. Okay, so since the date resides, okay, date it is displayed here, discussed here. Since a date file is residing in slash bin or usr slash bin, you can use its absolute path. Okay, see here, where is date residing? Here, right? Date is a command, right? Date is residing under root bin. Under bin date is residing, right? Under root bin, under bin date is residing. So you can say to display the or to execute the date command, you can say slash bin slash date. You can say, right? you can write like this, /bin/date you can write. But will we execute the date command like this, /bin/date? We have executed, right, date command. How will we execute? Simply in the dollar prompt we will say date and output of the date command will be obtained, right? See, when the date is residing in /bin means under the root bin or under the root USR bin. You can see here under the root go to bin and access date, or under the root you can go to USR. What is USR? USR is Unix system resources. Okay, USR stands for Unix system resources. So under the root then you reach USR, and under USR you will be having date. Either date will be present here under bin or under USR bin here. Okay, under USR bin date will be present. Okay. Okay, see, date may be residing under root under bin, or it may also reside. We have seen that commands may reside in root bin, or it may reside in root USR bin, right? Under bin also the date command may exist. So then you can either say to reach the date command, you can say /bin or you can say /user bin. Okay, USR bin. So both of them you can say. But do we execute date command like this? You can execute, but we don't execute a date command like this, right? Simply in the dollar prompt we will write date. We don't write /bin/date or /bin/USR/date. We don't write like that, right? We don't give the absolute path of the date command or any command to execute it, right? Why? Because these are all where they are residing. The paths for the command are residing in path variable, right? Whenever we give a command to the shell will search for that command within itself. That means if it is a built-in file, the command is within shell, it will take that and execute. If it is not a built-in command, then where it will search in the directories which are listed under this path environment variable, right? Under this path environment variable we have a list of directories where the shell will search for the command file and it will find out and execute. So whenever you have a directory which is listed under this path and the files which are there in those directories, then you need not have to give the absolute path like this. If you give, it is not a problem, but you need not have to give. It is not mandatory. Directly you can execute that command. If that directory /bin/date is present under path, then date command can be directly executed. You need not have to give the absolute path. Okay. So whenever you execute some files frequently, on a regular basis, if you execute any files, the path of that file you can include in this set of directories of path environment variable, so that directly you can execute that file. Not necessary to give the absolute path name with respect to root, right? A long path name like as we have given /home/ait/cse /Unix 5th sem, then to reach M1 M2, you need not have to give that complete path name, right? Directly you can execute M1 M2 if they are executable files, if you include that entire directory in the path. Okay, so then it will be useful to you. Then manipulating the path. Then how to add some directory into the path. Now I said if you are using any file, if you are executing any file frequently, the path of that file better to add in path set of directories, so that you need not have to specify the absolute path name, entire path name. Okay, so how to add that to the path set of variables, set of directories. To add, let us take a directory here. Let us take a path, an absolute path. This is absolute path. Yes, it is absolute path because it is starting from root, with reference to root, right? So it is an absolute path. To add this absolute path to the set of directories of path variable, how will we write? What will we write? We will write like this. In the command prompt, we'll write path equal to $path with colon /home/kumar csc. Now this directory /home/kumar csc we need to include into the path. So what we will write? Path equal to, we will set this path. Okay, see in the path the set of directories are separated by colon, that we have studied, right? In the set of directories under path, the directories are separated by colon. That's why we have this colon here. Okay, so what is this $path? This is the $path will give you the content of the path environment variable. So to the content of the path environment variable, at the end you put a colon and then add this directory to that list. Whatever the current value of $path is there, to that value at the end you give a colon and then add this directory. That is the meaning. Okay, add this directory. So what it will do? To the path, whatever the already existing set of directories are there, keep them, and then at the end of that directories put a colon, because it need to be separated by colon, right? Put a colon and then add this directory to the path. Okay, so in this process, if you execute this command under command prompt, the home/kumar/csc will be added into path variable, or you can add our that's AIT path also to this path. Then that entire absolute path will be added into the set of directories which are under path environment variable. Is that clear? That is how you add the value, okay, to this already existing value of path environment variable. At the end put a colon, then add our new directory. Then whatever the files you have under this CSE, directly you can execute, not necessary to give the absolute path name. Okay, that is the idea. Putting this setting in your, what is this symbol? Okay, this is called as a tilde symbol, represents your home directory. Okay, this represents your home directory. Under your home there is a file called .profile. Okay, there is a file called .profile. So dot has come here, should be continuous. .profile file, where all your settings will be, or configuration settings will be stored. You can store, okay, you can store all your configuration settings under this .profile directory, so that you can execute again and again. Okay, which is residing here in your home. Okay, home can be represented by this symbol also. This is called a tilde symbol. We'll study in the next coming slides. Okay, so in this .profile file, if you store this setting, then you can it will be effect each time when you start executing. When you log in and access your shell, it will be, this setting will be activated, or any setting you make, any time you log into the system, those settings will be activated, okay, enabled. So that way you can store all your settings, you can store in a file called .profile, which will be in your home directory. Consider the following commands. Let us say cat login.sql. That means it has to display the contents of a file called login.sql. Then cd programs. This command will have to change our current directory to another directory called programs. cd for change directory, right? So whatever the directory we are currently in, that need to be changed to programs directory. Okay. So consider these two commands. Both programs, this programs and login.sql, these two files are presumed to exist in our current directory, isn't it? If they are in our current directory, then only we can directly execute these files like this. Otherwise, you have to give the path, isn't it? If they are existing, this login.sql or the programs, if it is there in our current directory, then only directly we can give these file names. If they are not existing in our current directory, then we have to give the path, entire path with respect to root. If the programs contain a subdirectory, let us say, if this program contains a subdirectory called scripts, under it, then what we will write? We will write, see, you cannot simply say cd scripts because scripts is under programs. So you should write cd programs, under programs scripts. Now where we will be changed? We will be changed to change the directory to program scripts. Now we will be under scripts directory because scripts is under programs. We will go to programs and then scripts. So now our current directory will be scripts. Okay. So observe that the path which is given here, observe this path which is given here is not starting with a slash. Yes, this is not starting with a slash. Why it is not starting with a slash? Because programs directory is present in our current directory. So any directory or any file which is present in our current directory need not be referenced by an absolute path. Okay, that need not be referenced by an absolute path because it is existing in our current directory and we can directly access. We need not have to reference with respect to root. Okay, directly we can access. Such kind of accessing will be called as relative path because we are relatively accessing that path with respect to our current directory. We are not accessing this path with respect to root, but we are accessing this path with respect to our current directory. Such a kind of a path is called as a relative path name. Okay, so let me give you a real life example. Let us say you want to go to your friend's house. Okay, your friend have called you to celebrate a festival at in their home. Okay, so you want to go to your friend's house. So how will you go? You don't know. Your first time you are visiting their house. So you don't know how to go to their house. So you'll ask the address. Okay, to your friend how to reach your home. So let us say your friend's home, you stay near to the college, okay, and your friend's home is near Domino's in Bagalgunte, let us say, okay, near Domino's in Bagalgunte, behind Domino's, okay, somewhere in that locality your friend's house is there. So how your friend will say, your friend will say, come to Domino's. There you take immediate right beside the Domino's. From there you take first right, and to the left third house is my house. So what kind of a path is this? Absolute or relative? Are you getting? You want to visit your friend's house for celebrating a festival. then your friend says this is my address. Okay, so near Bagalgunte there is a Domino's, everybody knows that, right? So behind that Domino's, in that locality somewhere your friend's house is there. Okay, so your friend says come to Domino's, beside that you take right, and then first right you take, and towards left third house is my house. What kind of path is this? An absolute path or a relative path? This is relative path because your friend is not guiding you from your source, right? From your source, where you are residing, you are residing near college. Okay, near Acharya College you are residing. Okay, so from Acharya College your friend have to guide you to reach the house, but your friend is not guiding from the route. Route is college because you are residing near college. So from college the route should be told, but your friend is not telling you the route from college, but with respect to Domino's your friend is telling the address, isn't it? So with relative to Domino's your friend is telling the address. With respect to Acharya College your friend is not telling you the address, from where you need to start. Where you need to start from, that is your route, right? Acharya College is your route, that is your source, and your destination is your friend's house. To reach destination from your source, if you exactly tell how to reach, then it is absolute path, but if you tell relative to Domino's, then it is absolute relative path. Relative to Domino's, your friend is telling, assuming that you know how to come to Domino's, right? Bagalgunte Domino's, your friend assumes that you know how to reach Bagalgunte Domino's. That's why with relative to Domino's, your friend says the address, right? So that is relative path name. But if with respect to college, with reference to college, Acharya College, if your friend says the path to reach his house, then it will be absolute path. So how to reach? Like you can take drop from somebody to apartments, or you can take an auto to apartments. From there you can take a bus and you get down near Media bus stop or Bagalgunte. From there you can take 5 minutes walk to Domino's. There besides Domino's you take down right, and then first right you come, the third house is mine. So now what kind of address it is? It is absolute address, absolute path. From Acharya College, how to reach the friend's house exactly you know. That is absolute path. But if from Acharya, if the path is not told, with respect to Domino's the path is told, then it is relative path. Okay, the same thing here. Absolute path means with respect to route. With reference to route, if the path is told to reach a file or a directory, then it is absolute path with respect to your current directory or your parent directory. We have studied about parent directory also, right? That dot and double dot we have studied, right? Dot represents the current directory, double dot represents the parent directory. So with respect to your current directory or your parent directory, if you are specifying any path, then it is called as the relative path. Are you understanding? Any path written with reference to route is absolute path, and any path with reference to the current directory or a parent directory, if you are specifying, then it is the relative path. Okay, navigation becomes easier using a reference, right? Either it is an absolute path or a relative path with reference to something you say, with reference to route, or with reference to parent directory or current directory, with reference to Acharya or with reference to Domino's. It will be easy, right? Unix offers a shortcut relative path name. This these are references with respect to your current directory or parent directory. It may consist of the single dot, okay, the single dot which represents the current directory, and a double dot which represents the parent directory. Okay, single dot represents the current directory and double dot represents the parent directory. And I have already told you that whenever any new directory is created, by default the single dot and double dot will be automatically present. They are automatically created. Okay, they are hidden files. Whenever you say ls, they will not be displayed, but when you say ls minus a is an option with ls to display the hidden files. Okay, when you say ls minus a, then these two files dot and double dot will be displayed. Okay, see, for example, if you say pwd, we are in this directory. Let us say we are in this directory currently, home AIT CSE 5th sem notes. Then if you say cat students.txt with this reference, when you say like this, we have used such kind of notation to go back to 2 levels above directories, right, in the previous classes. See what it will say: parent directory 2 times. Okay, double dot is parent directory, right? So this will say parent directory and parent directory, under that student.txt. So where students.txt is present according to this path, where the student.txt is present 2 levels above, right? Our current directory is this one, notes. Okay, now 2 levels above means 5th sem CSE, 2 levels above. So under this CSE directory, student.txt is present. That is what we mean to say. So above 2 levels, take student.txt file and display the contents, because cat command is used. Are you getting? So what you need to, here cat says display the contents of the file. Which file? Student.txt, where it is present 2 levels above the current directory. Which is our current directory? Notes, because we have listed under pwd, we are presently under notes. Okay, so now we have to go 2 levels above. Okay, then we have reached the CSE. Under CSE, take a students.txt file and display. That is the meaning of this path. So what kind of a path it is? This is what kind of a path? It is relative path, because it is not starting with a slash with respect to root. It is written with respect to your current directory and parent directory. From your current directory, you need to go 2 levels up to reach your parent. Notes, the parent of notes directory is 5th sem, the parent of 5th sem is CSE. So you need to write, you need to reach parent of parent. So parent of notes is 5th sem, parent of 5th sem is CSE. There you take a file student.txt and display its contents. So such a kind of a path is called as a relative path, which is written with respect to your current directory or parent directory, is called as a relative path. Okay. So let us see some other examples. Here another example, cd double dot means go to your parent directory. Okay, if you are currently in notes directory, when you say cd double dot, where you will reach 5th sem. Okay, 1 level up it will take. Here it will take you 2 levels up. If you are in notes, you can reach 5th sem and CSE. CSE you can reach 2 levels up. It will change the directory to CSE because you are going 2 levels up. Okay, above. Then if you say cd double dot slash double dot slash double dot, then 3 levels up, 1 2 3, then you will reach AIT directory, 3 levels above. Okay, take another example, cp for copy, right? Cp command is for copying. What you need to copy? The file which is called m1 here. right? This is leaf node, which is there in home AIT, under home AIT, under AIT CSE, under CSE 5th sem. Okay, under 5th sem notes, and under notes we have a file called M1. Okay, so that file, this M1 file residing under this need to be copied. Where it need to be copied? It need to be copied to this dot. See here, observe this dot. It need to be copied to this dot. A dot means, single dot means current directory. Okay, the file M1 which is existing under this directory, this path should be copied to my current directory. That is the meaning. Okay, that need to be copied to my current directory. See here, both type of paths we have used, right? This is the absolute path because it is starting with a slash. With respect to root we are writing, so it is an absolute path. This is with respect to our current directory. This is a relative path. Current directory single dot means it is a relative path with respect to our current directory. Did you understand what is relative path and absolute path? Okay, so copy M1 to our current directory. Then cd programs. cd means change directory. Change our current directory to programs is writing same as change the directory to programs from our current directory. See, dot slash is there, right? Here you can see dot slash is there, means current directory. In our current directory there is a folder called programs. To that you change. Here also the same meaning. When you access directly programs, it should be residing in our current directory, right? So both are same. Okay, next let us see copy dot profile file which is residing in Sharma. Okay, which is residing in Sharma, this dot profile file of Sharma, where it is in our parent directory. This double dot says in our parent directory. Okay, this is parent directory, right? In our parent directory there is a file called Sharma, sorry, directory called Sharma. Under Sharma we have a file called dot profile that need to be copied to our current directory. That is the meaning of this command. Did you understand? Sorry. Okay. Yeah. Here in our parent directory there is a folder called Sharma. Under Sharma we have a file called dot profile that need to be copied to our current directory. That is the meaning of this path. Okay. Okay, that's all for today. The home variable we'll see in the next class. Have a good day. Bye bye.